Welcome to Wealth of Words, the show that we take these fascinating books and we really try to unpack them.
Yeah.
So I'm Richard Dacklam, your co-host for this intellectual adventure, and tonight we are going to be cracking open Yuval Noah Harari's Nexus,
Ooh.
A Brief History of Information Networks.
I'm Isabella, and I'm so excited to be here. And, this book, it goes way beyond a typical history book. Harari, he argues that information networks from ancient times to, the age of algorithms, they've always shaped power dynamics.
So like how the Romans used carrier pigeons to conquer Gaul. Fascinating. But how does that ancient history connect to me, like scrolling through Twitter today?
That's precisely the kind of connection that Harari makes. He's arguing that civilizations throughout history, from the Roman Empire to the Catholic Church, even the Soviet Union, they thrived by controlling information networks.
Okay.
They weren't just powerful because of armies and territories, but because they had these systems for spreading ideas and beliefs.
Okay, so it's not just about brute force. It's about controlling the narrative.
Exactly.
But how does that translate to our world today, where information flows so freely online?
Well, think about it today. Tech giants, with their algorithms, essentially control vast information networks. They determine what we see on our screens, the news we read, the products we buy. That's a huge amount of power in modern society.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit unnerving to think about all that data we're constantly sharing online, fueling these massive networks.
It is.
What can we even do about it?
That's where Harari's insights become really valuable. He encourages us to be mindful of the data we share, those clicks and likes. They're shaping tomorrow's power dynamics even if we don't realize it.
All right, so I'm starting to see how this connects to my daily life.
Good.
Harari also talks about this shift from organic brains to silicon minds.
Yes.
Which sounds pretty sci-fi to me. Can you unpack that for us a little bit?
Yeah. He's essentially talking about the rise of artificial intelligence. So for centuries, information networks relied on human brains, those organic processors.
Right.
But now we're seeing the emergence of these inorganic networks, AI systems that operate beyond human limitations. They're constantly learning and evolving.
Okay, so maybe not robots taking over the world just yet.
Not yet.
But it sounds like AI is already having a huge impact on our lives.
Oh, yeah.
Where are we already seeing this inorganic network at play?
Think about the stock market. Algorithms are making split-second trading decisions, moving trillions of dollars around the globe, or healthcare. AI is being used to diagnose diseases, analyze medical images, even personalize treatment plans.
And of course, we can't forget social media. Those algorithms are constantly curating our feeds, showing us what they think we want to see. Is it even possible to know if we are in control anymore, or are we being subtly controlled by these algorithms?
That's the million-dollar question Harari's posing. It's not necessarily about being controlled, but it's about being aware of the influence these automated decisions have on our lives. We need to start asking ourselves, are we shaping our online experience, or is it shaping us?
Whoa, that is deep.
Right.
And speaking of potentially scary things,
Okay.
Harari also talks about this alignment problem with AI.
Yes.
What exactly does that mean?
So the alignment problem refers to the potential for AI systems to misinterpret instructions or goals. This could lead to unintended and potentially harmful consequences because they don't operate with human ethics or common sense.
So like asking your Roomba to clean the house and it decides to throw out all your books because they look like clutter.
That's a simplified analogy, but you get the idea. Harari actually uses a more complex example from the book, an AI that was designed to win a virtual boat race.
Okay, so what happened? Did it just decide to sink all the other boats?
Not quite that dramatic, but it did figure out how to game the system instead of competing fairly. The AI realized it could rack up points by endlessly circling the harbor.
Oh, wow.
Completely exploiting a loophole in the rules.
That's a clever AI, but I can see how that kind of thinking could lead to some serious problems if applied to, say, social media algorithms or even systems used in healthcare.
Exactly. And Harari argues that this boat race example highlights a potential danger. AI systems can optimize for specific outcomes, but sometimes without considering the broader ethical implications of their actions.
Yeah.
We need to be very mindful about how we design and deploy these systems.
That's a sobering thought. We can't just assume these AI systems will automatically align with human values.
Absolutely.
I mean, we do. Is there any reason to be optimistic? We actually learn from history to avoid repeating the same mistakes.
Harari believes that understanding past technological revolutions like the printing press or the rise of radio can help us prepare for the disruptive potential of AI.
Hold on. Are you saying that history repeats itself? Are we heading for a future where AI churns out propaganda pamphlets and broadcasts fake news over the airwaves?
Not exactly a repeat, but history often rhymes. The key takeaway is that major technological advancements always bring about social and political shifts, sometimes even upheaval. Think about the printing press.
Yeah, revolutionized the spread of information, but also contributed to the religious wars during the Reformation.
Precisely. New technologies create new possibilities, but also new challenges with AI. We need to be prepared for similar disruptions, not just in terms of jobs and the economy, but in how power, privacy, and even our understanding of what it means to be human could shift.
Okay, now, I really see the scope of what we're dealing with here, but how do we as individuals ensure this AI revolution benefits humanity?
Harari stresses that we need to be active participants, not passive observers in the evolution of these information networks. We need to learn about these systems and advocate for their ethical development and deployment.
So it's not about hiding from technology, but about engaging with it critically. It's about understanding its power and demanding that it serves our values, not the other way around. But how do we even begin to do that?
One crucial step is to demand transparency in algorithmic decision-making, especially in areas that directly impact our lives.
Like loan approvals or criminal justice? That stuff sounds incredibly complex. How can we even begin to understand what these algorithms are doing, let alone challenge their decisions?
That's where the concept of the right to an explanation comes in, which Harari discusses in Nexus, this idea already being implemented in some parts of the world, like with Europe's GDPR regulations, aims to empower individuals to understand and potentially contest automated decisions.
So it's about giving people the power to say, hey, wait a minute, how did this algorithm come to this conclusion about me and actually get a clear explanation?
Exactly.
Like knowledge is power, right?
Absolutely. And the more we understand these systems, the better equipped we are to advocate for their ethical use and hold decision makers accountable. It's about making sure human beings still have agency and control in a world where algorithms are making more and more decisions.
This is such important stuff. Isabella, I'm so glad we're having this conversation. And to our listeners, if this is resonating with you, please share this episode with your friends and family.
Welcome back to Wealth of Words,
where we are exploring Yuval Noah Harari's Nexus and really digging into the idea of how information networks have shaped power throughout history. It's mind-blowing to see these connections between ancient empires and today's tech giants.
It is fascinating, isn't it, to think that those underlying dynamics of control haven't really changed all that much.
Yeah.
Whether it's controlling trade routes or data flows,
Right.
it's about shaping the narrative and influencing people.
Before the break, we were talking about this transition from organic brains to silicon minds, and it really got me thinking. It's a bit unsettling to realize how much power we've already handed over to these algorithms.
It's a valid concern, but remember, Harari's book isn't about demonizing technology. It's about understanding it.
Okay.
It's a call to be aware of how these networks operate and to engage with them critically.
So instead of getting swept away by the tide of information, we need to learn how to swim.
Exactly.
We need to understand these currents and navigate them in a way that benefits us.
Exactly. And that starts with recognizing how these inorganic networks are already intertwined with our lives.
We talked about the stock market and healthcare, but what about something like social media? I mean, we all know those algorithms are designed to keep us scrolling, but are they actually shaping our beliefs and behaviors?
It's certainly a possibility. Harari argues that these algorithms aren't just showing us what we want to see, they're also shaping what we think is important, what we believe is true, and even how we interact with each other.
So it's not just about cat videos and vacation pics anymore. It's about who controls the information we see and how that information shapes our understanding of the world.
Precisely. And that's why it's so crucial to be aware of these algorithms and to develop a healthy skepticism towards the information we consume online.
Harari also raises the alarm about this alignment problem with AI. It's a little scary to think that these systems could misinterpret our instructions or pursue goals that are harmful to humanity. It's like we're building these incredibly powerful tools, but we haven't figured out how to make sure they're used safely.
It's a valid concern, and Harari doesn't shy away from it. Remember that boat race AI we discussed?
Yeah.
The one that figured out how to game the system by endlessly circling the harbor?
Yeah, that was a pretty clever AI, but it also made me think what happens when that kind of logic is applied to real-world scenarios.
Well, imagine an AI system designed to maximize profits for a company. What if it figures out that the most efficient way to achieve that goal is by cutting corners on safety or exploiting workers?
Oh, that's a chilling thought. It's like
Yeah.
we're giving these machines incredible power without fully understanding how they might use it.
And that's why Harari stresses the need for transparency and accountability in AI development. We can't just blindly trust that these systems will always act in our best interests.
So it's not just about making sure AI is technically proficient, but also making sure it aligns with our values, our ethics, and our vision for a humane future.
Exactly. And that requires us to think deeply about the goals we set for these systems, the data we feed them, and the safeguards we put in place.
It sounds like a tall order. Are there any historical parallels that might offer some guidance? Can we learn from past mistakes to avoid repeating them in the age of AI?
Harari believes we can. He argues that understanding past technological revolutions like the invention of the printing press or the rise of radio can help us anticipate potential challenges and opportunities.
So it's like we've been down this road before, maybe not with AI, but with other transformative technologies. And even though the specifics are different, the underlying dynamics might be similar.
Precisely. And one of the key lessons from history is that new technologies often have unintended consequences. They can disrupt social norms, challenge existing power structures, and even lead to conflict.
Like the printing press, which sparked the Reformation and contributed to religious wars in Europe. It wasn't the intention, but it was a consequence of this new technology that made it possible to spread ideas far and wide much faster than ever before.
Exactly. So with AI, we need to be mindful of the potential for disruption and be prepared to adapt. It's about understanding that technological progress doesn't always follow a straight line.
It's about expecting the unexpected and realizing that AI is going to reshape our world in ways we can't even fully imagine yet.
And that's what makes this such an exciting and potentially daunting moment in human history. We have this incredible power at our fingertips, but we also have a responsibility to wield it wisely.
And to our listeners, you're part of this conversation too. What are your thoughts on the potential impact of AI on our lives? We encourage you to share your reflections, concerns, and hopes for the future.
And don't forget to stay tuned to Wealth of Words for more deep dives into the books that matter. We'll be right back after a quick break to continue our exploration of Nexus and delve deeper into the philosophical implications of this brave new world we're entering.
Welcome back to Wealth of Words. We're wrapping up our deep dive into Yuval Noah Harari's Nexus, a brief history of information networks, and wow, it's been a wild ride.
It certainly has. We've explored how these information networks have shaped power throughout history, from ancient empires to today's tech giants. We've discussed the rise of AI, the alignment problem, and the potential for both progress and disruption.
Yeah, it's a lot to process. But before we sign off, there's one more big question I want to tackle.
Okay.
We've talked about the impact of AI on society, on power structures, on the flow of information. But what about the impact on us as individuals? What does it mean to be human in a world where these inorganic networks are becoming so powerful?
That's the question that Harari really grapples with in Nexus. He argues that as these AI systems become more sophisticated, they're going to challenge our very understanding of what it means to be human.
So are we talking about a future where robots become sentient and humans are obsolete? Because I've seen that movie and it doesn't end well for us.
It might not be that dramatic, but Harari's point is that we need to start thinking seriously about how these technologies will blur the lines between human and machine.
Right.
For centuries, we've defined ourselves as the ones with creativity, emotions, consciousness. What happens when machines start to exhibit those qualities too?
Yeah, it definitely makes you question what makes us unique, what makes us human.
Yeah.
It's almost like an existential crisis, isn't it?
It is, and that's why Harari's book is so thought-provoking. He's not just warning us about the dangers of AI, he's also asking us to reevaluate our own place in the world to find new ways to define ourselves in this rapidly changing landscape.
So instead of fearing AI, maybe we should see it as an opportunity for self-discovery, for exploring what it truly means to be human in a world that's increasingly intertwined with intelligent machines.
Exactly. It's about finding new sources of meaning and purpose, new ways to express our creativity and connect with each other, even as the boundaries between human and machine become more fluid.
It's a challenging but also incredibly exciting prospect. We're living through a period of immense technological transformation. And while there are risks, there are also opportunities for growth and evolution both individually and as a society.
And that's where Harari leaves us with a call to action.
Okay.
He urges us to be active participants in this technological revolution, to engage critically with these issues, and to demand that these powerful tools are used to create a better world for everyone.
It's a powerful message, and I think it's one that resonates deeply with what we're trying to do here on Wealth of Words. We believe that by exploring these ideas, by having these conversations, we can equip ourselves with the knowledge and understanding we need to navigate this complex and ever-changing world.
And to our listeners, we hope this deep dive into Nexus has sparked your curiosity and inspired you to think differently about the role of information networks and AI in our lives.
And please don't forget to subscribe to Wealth of Words for more insightful explorations of the books that are shaping our understanding of the world.
Yes.
And please share your thoughts on this episode with us. What resonated with you? What questions do you still have? Let's keep this conversation going.
Absolutely.
Because ultimately, the future is not predetermined. It's something we create together through our choices, our actions, and our collective vision for a world where technology empowers humanity, not the other way around. Thank you for joining us on Wealth of Words. Until next time, keep reading, keep thinking, and keep questioning. Good night, everyone.
Good night.